Framed, Part 21, 2nd of July. Cars today, Rover 3500 V8, the Mrs. Selwood, weather very wet. Note, Plan B. So first of all, we didn't get to pump petrol anymore or help in the shop, and now I'd stopped being a genius. For the first time in Manor, there was nothing to do. No wonder we were thinking of turning to crime. Every day was like Wednesday. In fact, Wednesday was more interesting, because at least the Mrs. Selwood came. Miss Edna pipped the horn, and when I came out she asked for a copy of The People's Friend. I explained to her that we'd closed down. Miss Edna said, "Elsa, he says they closed down." "Oh dear," said Miss Elsa. "Have they got your People's Friend?" "No, they haven't. We'll have to go to Mrs. Porty." "Closed down," said Elsa, and only opened the twinkling of an eye. "I've only just got used to them being here," said Edna, and they drove off. I'd lived nearly all my life in the Snowdonia Oasis, but the Selwoods had lived all their much longer life on the mountain. To them we seemed like a novelty. Somehow that made me feel a bit better. That's why, when Minnie came out, I felt quite comfortable saying to her, "The robbery's off. Lester knows I don't know anything about art. He's not going to let the van stop and show us the painting. He's not even talking to me. I'm not sure it's going to be sunflowers." Minnie said, "Doesn't matter, we've always got Plan B." Plan B? I didn't even think we had a Plan A. See you in the workshop after school. When we got to the workshop, Minnie had it all set out. 2 shop-damaged discount chairs, one for me, one for Tom, a tray of drinks, notepads and pencils, and on the workbench some toy cars and a monkey wrench to help her explain her plan. She put a lot of work into this. It made you worry about her. This was Plan B. 1. Put our painting in a wooden box like the ones from the gallery. Minnie said, "You may be wondering where the shell we're going to get one of those." And then she smiled and pulled one out from under the tow truck. It had National Gallery Collection written across the front. It was the one that Lester had left behind the time he forgot the Wilton diptych. So that was step 1 sorted. We left it to Minnie to sneak into Marie's room, get our picture and put it in the box, which she did. She also borrowed Marie's phone. 2. Take the box up to the mountain, ready to swap boxes. We had to wait until Sunday night because that was when Lester put the picture back in its box, so that it could be loaded onto the van and driven to London on the Monday. On the night, Tom hid in the workshop, waiting for us to come out, which we couldn't do until Mam had gone to sleep. Mam stayed up really late though. She was sorting things into boxes, some to take with us and some to take to the car boot sale. Dynamo Blaine, our floodlit car boot super sale, was coming up. I fell asleep, but Minnie woke me up. We were quite worried about being seen by the guards. Then I remembered the shoe polish Dad had got from the cash and carry. We rubbed it on our faces so we wouldn't show up as much in the dark. We almost forgot to get Tom out of the workshop. When we opened the door, he said, "Look, I brought these." We had 3 turtle masks. I'm not sure they were as good as a disguise, but he'd always wanted to wear them, so we did. The box wasn't so heavy, and it was easy to follow the white stones. Every now and then a sheep coughed, which was a bit scary, but we got up to the top. 3. Swap our picture for their picture. I said, "Hang on, how do we do that? There's an alarm and..." "I can get round the alarm." "Nothing to do with wasps, is it?" said Tom. "No wasps." "Good then," said Tom. "I hate wasps." I said, "No, Tom, not good, because not true." I turned to Minnie. "How can you get round the alarm? What are you, the Fugitoid?" The Fugitoid is this robot who was the Turtles' main ally in their fight against General Blank on planet Hunib in the Stadium system. He can drill through stone. Minnie said, "We don't need any of that. I can do it with a packet of quavers," and she produced a packet of quavers that she'd already acquired. On the night, I worried about the alarm all the way up to the mountain. When we got to the top, Minnie pulled the bag of quavers out of her coat. Within a couple of seconds, you could hear sheep crowding in from all over the place. They followed her right up to the barbed wire fence. She hissed, "Lift it up, lift the wire up and let a couple in." We did. Then she said, "Wait here, I'm going to set the alarm off." "What?" But she was gone. We hid behind a great big boulder, the one with doodles on. We could just see her heading towards the Technodrome, where Lester kept the paintings. Tom said, "She forgot the painting." We still had the gallery's wooden box with us. "I'll go after her." I said, No. Wait and see what she's up to." Suddenly the alarm went off. It echoed around the caves and cliffs, like the whole mountain was a massive bell. The blue lights were flashing, men were running, sheep were going crazy for miles. I was worried, Tom was terrified, but all of a sudden Minnie was sitting next to us, looking at her watch. 4 quad bikes came roaring out of the dark, the headlights blazing. 2 minutes, said Minnie. Pretty good. The quads rumbled up and down the fence looking for intruders. We crouched behind the rock. After a while they trundled back towards the Technodrome and the alarm stopped. "Did you get the painting?" "Not yet," said Minnie. "Wait about half an hour." "Why?" "You'll see." So we waited and watched. Men were running around with torches. Eventually they found the sheep that we brought with us. We could hear them shouting at each other, "It's on the sheep!" A few of them tried to chase one of the sheep towards the fence, but it wasn't interested. Luckily they didn't have any quavers. We sat there looking up at the stars. They were really, really bright up there, not like in town. Tom said, "Why was General Blank so obsessed with the Fugitoid?" "Because he wanted to use its teleportal device to help him achieve galactic domination." "Ah," said Tom. Then Minnie got up. "I'm going to set the alarm off again," she said. "The trick is to make them think there's something wrong with it, so they end up ignoring it." So off she went. A few seconds later the alarm went off again. There was the same palaver with the men and the sheep. When Minnie came back she said, 4 minutes to scramble the quad bikes this time. They're getting slower already." She set the alarm off 3 more times. Each time it took the guards a little bit longer to come out of their hut. Each time we stayed huddled together behind the boulder and talked about, well, stuff. It turned out that Tom knew the names of some of the stars. "That one's Vega," he'd say. "I wish we'd brought a flask of hot chocolate. And that's Cassiopeia. I'm freezing," and on like that. The moonlight made the big boulder shine like silver, and it made the lines of the drawing on its side really black, like ink. All the faces in the drawing were looking up in the same direction, up towards the corner where the big mop of moss was. What were they looking at? I don't know what gave me the idea, but I lifted up the big mop of moss and tried to see what was underneath. Suddenly there was a noise like a tiny machine gun right next to me. I dropped the moss and crouched down. "Quick!" "Only me," said Tom. He was holding up a torch, my wind-up torch. He lifted the moss and shone the beam on the corner of the boulder. There was a drawing where the moss had been. This one was 2 women with their hair hanging down. The men were all looking at the women. Some of the quarrymen must have scratched it on, years back. The 6th time Minnie went, the alarm didn't go off at all. She came back grinning. "They've turned it off," she said. "The place is wide open. Maybe we should take a few extra paintings." No. We all got up and carried our painting by numbers over to the Technodrome. The moment we opened the door, the alarm went off. It was like being punched in the ears. I had to bite my lips so I wouldn't scream. We just stood, frozen to the spot. The moon cast our shadows on the grass. We were as still as fossils. Even the steam from our nostrils seemed too scared to move. But nothing happened. There was the painting, all boxed up. We put our painting down. We picked up the other one. Then the alarm stopped again. The quiet was almost worse than the noise. We stood there, holding our breath. Then Minnie walked out, and me and Tom followed. It was only when we got to the barbed wire fence that I thought, £25 million. 4. Put the Mrs. Selwood painting in the sunflowers frame. This was Minnie's idea, and you have to admit it was impressive. The plan was to take sunflowers out of its frame, put the picture of the young Mrs. Selwood into the front of the frame, and then put sunflowers in behind it, and put it all back together again. Now if anyone searched the house, they could be looking straight at the Van Gogh and they'd never know it, because it was hidden behind old Mr. Selwood's picture of his daughter. Genius. As soon as we got back down off the mountain, we went into the workshop. I got the jemmy, found the special groove under the T of National, and then slipped the box open. There was some bubble wrap on top. We moved that, and there was sunflowers. It didn't look anything like our painting by numbers. We thought that was a masterpiece, but this, the yellow was so yellow it nearly lit up the garage, and even though it was only flowers, it seemed really sad and happy at the same time. How can flowers be sad, or happy for that matter? But these were. We just sat there staring at it for ages. The weirdest thing was, we were freezing when we came off the mountain, but looking at sunflowers was like warming yourself up by a fire. It had so much sunshine in it. It was like being back on top of the mountain that first day, when I hadn't known it was going to be sunny. Then the birds started singing outside. It was nearly morning. Minnie said, "We need a photo." "What?" "To prove we got the painting. During negotiations." I sneaked Marie's Polaroid camera out of her room. "You have to take it, Tom." "But I want to be in the picture," said Tom. "You can't. Then there'd be evidence linking you to the crime." "There'll be evidence linking you to the crime. We're underage. We can't go to jail." I could wear my turtle's mask. So that's what he did. We put the camera on automatic and we all stood there, holding up sunflowers disguised as turtles. It was a rubbish disguise. There's only one person in Snowdonia with that many turtles' masks, and everyone knows who that is. We unscrewed the back of the frame. I lifted the painting out. The paint was really thick, and I was scared it was going to start flaking off. Minnie dropped Mr. Selwood's painting into the frame. I was supposed to drop sunflowers in just on top of that, but I was scared the paint would rub off on the back of it. Put some tissues in or something. Dad had a big roll of tissue with the Swarfega on the shelves. We padded the back of the other painting with it, and then we put sunflowers in. Then we sealed it up. And there you go, said Minnie. Perfect crime. What do we do next then? Said Tom. Just hold tight, said Minnie.